All right, so coming to a nice seat, and you can be a little, laying back into the back of your chair. If you want to start to work the core, kind of find that nice alignment, you can scoot forward on your sit bones if that feels okay. And you just want to, let's just actually rock side to side a little bit here, and just notice how that feels. Good. And then just make that movement a little smaller, so you're bringing everything to center. And you're rooting into your sit bones. You just might peek down. So nice alignment approximately for feet here is knees over ankles. If you're a little shorter, it can be really great to place a blanket underneath your feet. That can just give you a little lift. And then we're just gonna take our hands on our thighs. Close your eyes here if they're not already. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. And then let's do that a couple more times. So nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, sigh Monday out. All of the things that might be stressing you out, the to-do list, you're just putting it aside for the next 45 minutes or so. Giving yourself permission to start to pay attention to your body, to your breath, to how things are feeling. And you're starting to find that rhythm of that inhale through your nose and then also that exhale through your nose. You're trying to keep the length of the inhale and the length of the exhale really nice and even. You might have to count the breath to find that initially. So inhaling to 5 or 6 or 7. And then exhaling to that same number. Observe if the shoulders have started to creep up around your ears. Just soften them down. Maybe you've started to rock forward on those sit bones, so you're overarching in your lower back, kind of puffing the ribs out. Soften them back. And then we're going to be here for a minute or two, just soaking up the quiet. And this can be really challenging. The brain kicks in. We start to think about things. Just know that that's going to happen. You smile at it. You come back to your breath. So you're going to stay here with your eyes closed. We're just going to start to move into our cat-cow posture, just connecting the movement with the breath, finding this idea of vinyasa, also starting to warm up the spine. So as you inhale, you're going to rock forward on your sit bones, shoulder heads press back, you're arching in your lumbar, so that lower back. And then as you exhale, you go in the opposite direction, so getting into the thoracic, rounding in, letting the back of your neck release. And then moving like that. So inhale, you arch. Exhale, rounding in. Doesn't have to be a very big movement starting out. So this is how we start to warm up the spine. You're paying attention to how things are feeling in your body today. You're observing if there's places where you're gripping and holding on. So this is kind of another function of proprioception. Where are these spots where I hold tension in my body or muscularly I work, and we're not even aware of these sometimes. It's so habitual that it starts to grip in. So when we come to our yoga mats, we're being more mindful about paying attention to that. And we can make these little adjustments. And then interestingly, we start to do that when we're off the mat. So we notice when, there's aches and pains in the shoulders and the neck, and maybe we observe that we've been scrunching the shoulders up around the ears, or we're stressed about something, we're thinking about it. So as we start to become aware of these things, we can make little shifts so that we feel better. Couple more rounds here, just enjoying how this feels. And then maybe too, if you'd like to start to swivel around in your hips as you're doing this cat-cow. So just find a little extra movement. Be sure to go both directions and just let this feel really good. So just listening to your body and what you need. And it can feel kind of funny and awkward sometimes. So just know that we all feel that way. We're all friends. Good. And then just making yourself back to that, coming back to that nice Tadasana pose, mountain pose. So sitting tall, there's a sense of effort here, yes, but there's also this sense of ease and space. There's room in your body for the breath to move. And let's begin to move into some sun salutes here, just our half Surya Namaskaras. If you do have blocks close by, one block on either side of you might be nice, or you could use books. If you don't have them, that's fine too. So we're rooting down, we're in our mountain pose, arms by our side. Feel this openness across your heart and chest. Shoulder blades are releasing down your back, gently squeezing in towards each other. And here we go. As you inhale, take up lots of space, reach arms out and up. Of course, if that does not feel good in the shoulder girdle, you could always reach arms forward and up as well. And we're gonna hold here for a couple of breaths. Just pretend that you have a friend in the room there with you, gently lengthening up. So pulling up on those forearms, those wrists. Maybe you start to get so long that you begin to bring your gaze up. And then as we exhale, we're going to fold into our Uttanasana. So you could take your arms out wide, swan dive. If you feel like you need a little support, hands come to thighs, and then you just gently roll down. The neck loves to grip here. We're letting it lengthen. Hands could be on the blocks here. Maybe they're just releasing by your side. So moving the spine in this forward fold direction. Letting the neck go as much as possible. Easier said than done. I just noticed that I was gripping mine. Good. So from here, we come into our half forward fold, and this is where blocks can be really useful. So just placing them by your feet, and then you can root down into the blocks. Of course, if you don't have them, hands on thighs is a really great variation. And then notice if your elbows start to wing out, and then you start to dump in your shoulder heads. Think a little cobra pose, a little sphinx pose. So squeeze the elbows in towards the waist. Feel that lift of the sternum. So kind of making a half forward fold. So we're not all the way in. We're kind of at that 45-degree angle. We're lengthening through the sides of the waist. And gaze is just soft and gentle in front of you. So like our breath helps to quiet the mind, the gaze can help focus and quiet the mind as well. Helps us to get inside our body and notice what's going on. Next exhale, we're going to fold back into our Uttanasana, our full forward fold. letting the back of the neck lengthen. Listening to your breath. And then we make our way out of this, so you can roll on out using your hands on your thighs to come on up. Maybe you take that reverse swan dive up. Beautiful work. Feel nice and long here, lots of space. Gaze comes up. And then as we exhale, hands are going to come to heart center. You can bring them down the center if you want to stretch the arms out, which I always think feels good. They come out wide and then in. And we're going to put all of that together. So one movement per breath. If your pace isn't matching what I'm cueing, you just move with your breath. So whatever feels good. So exhale, release arms by side. Inhale. Reach up nice and graceful. So just channel your inner ballerina dancer here as we move into these sun salutes. As we exhale, we fold in, lengthening the back of the neck. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold back in. Inhale, root down, rise up. Gorgeous. These look fantastic. Hands come together at your heart. And we have a couple more. Inhaling, reaching. Extended mountain pose. Exhale, releasing in. Inhale, lengthening forward. Exhale, fold back in. And then rooting down into your feet, stretching arms out wide or reaching forward. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. I always think it's so nice to flow with our own breath to these. So we're going to do two more. You're just going to move with your breath. I'm not going to cue you. There's no rush here. If you felt comfortable, you could close your eyes. Sometimes that can feel really nice in these sun salutes. Of course, don't do that at the expense of feeling unbalanced or not safe. Just enjoy how it feels to be in your body, how it feels to move, to breathe like this. When you're done with that second round, eyes closed. Checking in, noticing how you feel. So my heart's beating a little faster, feeling a little heat inside my body. All of these subtle changes start to take place as we begin to move. You might be feeling a little more focused. The head might be feeling a little quieter, and it's fine if you're not there yet. Good. So let's inhale, stretch our arms out wide. You can blink your eyes open if you'd like to here. And then let's just move into some just twisting with the breath. So deep inhale. Exhale. Twist to the right any amount. Doesn't need to be very deep. Inhaling up. Good. Exhale. Twist to the left. Good. Inhale to center. We're going to do a couple more to each side. You can always release your arms by your side if you need to too. It's a lot of effort to hold the arms like this. Inhaling to center. Exhale, we empty out. So that's a good way to help you move into the breath and to remember this. Inhale back to center. One more to each side. Good. Exhaling, twisting to the right. Inhale to center. And then exhale, twist to the left. Good. Let's inhale, come back to center. We're going to hold this time. So exhale, twist to the right. Grab a piece of chair, something behind you with that right hand. Left hand presses to the outside of that right thigh. You just give yourself a little leverage, pressing your shoulder heads back. So they like to dump forward. It's almost like we start to forward fold. We want to sit nice and tall here. So find that. And maybe even play with dumping into your shoulder. So sometimes we have to do a pose like really ugly. See what that feels like. And then press the shoulder heads back, root into your sit bones, lengthen through your spine. Notice how it feels different. Notice how there's a little more room for the breath. So finally, you might be bringing your gaze out over that right shoulder. We haven't done a lot to warm up the neck yet, so be very mindful about that. You might not go very far before you feel an intense stretch. Of course, a little stretch is always good. It can be this fine line sometimes between cranking in and pushing ourselves further than we should go, but then also challenging ourselves enough. So think about that idea. Just ride your edge a little bit. Good. One more deep inhale here. Exhale, unwind, come back to center. And we're going to go to the second side. Inhale, stretch arms out. Exhale, twist to the left. And then find the twist. So grab something behind you just for a little support that helps with the height. And then you can potentially leverage against this left thigh. And then kind of make the pose as ugly as you can. See how that feels around the spine. Let the head go. And then find the belly. Find a little lift. Sit tall. Shoulder heads back. Beautiful. And then start to challenge that gaze. So moving towards looking out over that left shoulder, it's fine if you don't get there. We move in that direction. We pause at the place where things are feeling good. Getting a nice little stretch. If it feels like you're overdoing it at all, you simply back out. Couple more good breaths here. Nice deep inhale. Get a little taller in your spine. It might simply be a thought. That counts. As you exhale, come back to center. Let's pause here, close our eyes. Again, see how you feel. So those twists are so nice for the spine. Perhaps you found just a little more space. Good, and then blink your eyes open. So we're gonna come into some downward facing dogs, which is gonna feel good. So you either have your desk in front of you or a coffee table or any props or your chair. So I think I'm gonna do this from the side here. And let's start, we'll try this a couple different ways, but let's start with the seat of the opposite chair towards you. So we might have to adjust things here, but we have this nice seat, knees over ankles approximately, rooting into sit bones, rooting down into the feet, and just energetically feeling this weight, this gravitas that's rooting you to the earth, whatever that might be like in your body. Then we're gonna inhale, stretch our arms up. And then let's spin the palms to face forward. So we're already finding our downward facing dog arms. And then I want you to really do your best to firm muscle to bone. So it almost begins to feel like your inner arm is wrapping towards your outer arm ever so slightly. Keep anchoring down. You're gonna start to hinge forward at your waist, and you might have to adjust the chair here. I have really long monkey arms, so I need to scoot mine forward. If it's available to you, you try to spread your fingers a little bit and root down. Then I want you to just gaze between your fingers here. And we're gonna drop the head eventually. So as you're rooting down into something, this also helps to engage the arms a lot. It turns them on. And then notice what's going on with your breath. You're inhaling through your nose. You're exhaling through your nose. So finally here, we're gonna start to release our head down. So our ears are gonna come in line with our biceps. So you're just gazing between your feet. So kind of a classic downward facing dog pose here. A few more breaths. Then you're gonna start to walk your hands closer to you. Coming back up, just release your hands by your side. Give the arms a little break. So maybe not quite as challenging as holding them up, but when we're rooting down, we're feeling that weight, they definitely engage a little more. So let's actually go ahead and you can do this a couple ways. You might be able to just pull the chair quite a bit closer to you. If you want to spin it around, you can do that as well. So not as deep of a forward fold this time in our downward dog. We're going to be a little higher. But again, just go ahead and exhale, release your arms by your side. Inhale, stretch up. And then spin the eye of the elbow to face forward. And then hinge forward. So arms are really active even though we're not pressing down into something. And then you can kind of press the heel of the hand into the chair here. And root down there. Arms about shoulders distance apart. You can peek to see that that's happening. And then again, I want you to lengthen through the back of the neck. Your ears come in line with your biceps. So we don't want to go so far that we drop the head down, but we're really lengthening in that cervical spine. Trying to use the arms a lot here. It's nice having something to press them into. It helps us to get some feedback so that we can turn them on. Couple more breaths. And then we're gonna come out of this. So you might be able to just start to lift up. If it feels like you need to go the opposite direction and then release down and then roll up, that's a good way to come out of this pose as well. Take a couple of breaths. I'm making you do the flip-flop here. So if you flipped your chair, flip it back one more time. And I want to find a little twist in our downward dog, which is going to feel nice. All right. So rooting into sit bones, rooting into feet. Here we go. Inhale, arms reach up. Spin the eye of the elbow to face forward here. And then start to shift forward, hinge at your waist. Hands come back to the seat of the chair. Start to release your head down. We're going to keep rooting down into this right arm. Take your left hand, bring it to your left hip. So you'd be looking like this. And then start to spin those right ribs to the left. You might just stay here like this. A few of us might play with extending that top arm up. Oh, that feels good and challenging. Are you breathing? You might be looking up at that top thumb or just moving your gaze in that direction, even if that, that arm isn't extended. Really wrapping those right ribs up towards the ceiling. Deep inhale. As you exhale, unwind, let that go, let the neck release. And then we're gonna take the second side. So rooting down into that left palm, forearm might be on the mat. So wherever you're at, right fingertips come to your right hip. Start to twist to the left. And you could stay here like this. Maybe you extend that top arm up. So both arms are really active. I'm feeling this in my upper arms, the triceps, and that outer arm area a lot, especially in that one that's the left hand that is rooting down into the chair. It's hard to fill up on the inhale. Do the best that you can. Maybe sneaking your gaze up a little bit if it feels okay to do so in your neck. Good, deep inhale. As you exhale, you unwind. Just come back to this downward dog. Let the ears line up with your biceps, that inner arm. Good, and then we're gonna start to make our way out of this. Again, you might kind of walk yourself up if it feels better to release down. And then roll up. You can approach it that way as well. Taking a couple breaths here, just letting that go. And actually to help the shoulders release too, so we've got into the arms a lot. Let's just scrunch them up around the ears. Oh, clench every muscle and exhale through your mouth. Ha, let them go. Couple more times like that. Scrunching up, feeling all of that tension so we can feel the glorious release as we exhale. Couple more. And let them go. One more, scrunch them up. And let them go. So since we have the chair in front of us, oops, it looks like we lost Jim and he's back. This is why we need a password for class. Okay, so let's go ahead and just come into a variation of our crescent pose. So you can do this with the chair if you'd like to. You can simply, I'll give you another variation as well. So let's start with the left knee bent. We're gonna take the right foot up onto the chair. And if that doesn't happen, or if you've got like a desk in front of you and that's like a big lift for the leg, you can just extend that right leg to straight. That will also work. All right. Just glance down. So we want that left knee over left ankle, rooting down into those sit bones. Good. As you inhale, stretch arms out nice and wide. Coming to your crescent pose. And can you think downward facing dog arms here? The configuration's a little bit different. So eye of the elbow is spinning inward. You find that widening across the backs of your shoulders. You really feel muscle firming to bone. Maybe you bring your gaze up here. Good, and then as we exhale, I wanna take this into a twist. So I'm gonna give you a couple different variations here. So palms come to heart center. So you might just twist here like this, keeping your palms spinning towards heart center. I'm gonna do the other angle here. It might feel better to press hand against thigh. So few of us really like our twisted crescent pose. So if that feels good and you have the flexibility, you can play with this in your body. You start to hinge forward, so it becomes this really nice hamstring stretch too for that leg that is extended. Maybe you can get that elbow to the outside twisted crescent pose. You can move in that direction. You can even hinge forward if you're not getting that hook. That's fine. You just go to the place where you're feeling a nice stretch and you're breathing here. And again, it's really hard in these deep twists to fill up on the inhale. Do the best that you can. Conversely, however, as we exhale, we usually have a little more space, a little more room to twist in a little deeper. Good. As you inhale, come back to center if you hinged forward at your waist. Find center. Let's stretch the arms up. One more time here. Good. And then we're going to find a little forward fold. So might not have to go very far at all. You can just rest your hands wherever they might be. This is a fantastic place to use a strap if you have one handy and you know the body feels a little tighter. It just gives us a little feedback. So all good places to be. So this is like a humble warrior pose. And of course, if you're more flexible, you can kind of walk your hands forward on that chair. So again, we can have these ideas and these ideals about what the yoga pose is supposed to look like. And it's good to see that and to move in that direction. But we all have different things going on in our bodies. Day to day, that shifts. So our yoga practice is this really beautiful, fluid thing. We don't get too attached to it having to be a certain way. More important to enjoy your breath, to enjoy the strength and flexibility that you're building in your body. Okay, so we're going to start to roll on out. And then, so let's see, I'm doing the opposite of you guys. So that right leg was extended or lifted. You're going to bend it in. And then we're going to take that second side. So extending the left leg. And just check to see that that right ankle is underneath that right knee. So you have that nice alignment. Feel that weight into the sit bones. That just might be more of a visualization than anything, but you're feeling grounded, you're feeling steady. And from that rooted feeling, we start to lengthen up, we stretch, we grow. We need both. Couple breaths here, just classic crescent pose. These look wonderful. And then we turn this into a twist. So hands come to heart center. Deep inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, you're going to twist towards that extended leg, that left leg. So you might be here, palms pressing to heart center. Maybe it feels better to take a hand to the outside, left hand to the outside of that right thigh. Grab a piece of chair. So similar configuration to what we did earlier. If you know you're a little more flexible, you want to challenge yourself here, palms press, hinge forward at your waist. A couple of us might be able to hook that elbow or move in that direction. Big, big hamstring stretch, big twist in the spine. Not easy. Are you breathing? So a lot of times when we come into these challenging poses, these new poses, we hold the breath. It doesn't help. So key into that. Use your exhale to help you twist in a little deeper. Maybe bringing your gaze out over that left shoulder head. Good, deep inhale. Exhale, unwind. Inhale, upright your torso. If you started to hinge forward, take arms up overhead. And then we exhale, folding into that humble warrior. So walking hands forward any amount. If you have a strap for a tie, you could hold on there. And so we're really trying to keep a little back bend in our upper body. So thinking of your cobra pose or your, why did I just forget what the pose that we do on our bellies when we're on our forearms. It's going to come to me. It's not happening right now. The thing that's nice about a strap is that it lets you hold on to that feeling. It gives you a little feedback. But if you're a little tighter, it makes the pose a little more accessible. A few more good breaths here. All right, so start to upright yourself one more time. Crescent pose. Gaze up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. And then let's release this right leg. I'm going to check on my time here. So just coming back to your nice mountain pose. And let's close our eyes. Notice how you're feeling. So a lot of work in the arms, a lot of twisting, a lot of lengthening in the upper body. Noticing how you feel. All right, so I do want to come into, since we do have the chairs handy today, I want to come into a like a child's pose, a supported child's pose. So depending upon what props you have available, there's a few different ways you can do this. So if you have a bolster or some blankets, those could go on your chair, kind of just making a little pillow for yourself. And then you're going to rest your forehead on these. So if that's not available to you, if you're at a desk or a coffee table, you're gonna cross your arms at the, so you could either do this on the top of the chair, you can just do this on the desk, the coffee table. So you're just making a little place to rest your head. Kelly, if you have, you can just use a bolster to do a nice little forward fold. So a lot of options. This child's pose is this nice calming pose. It's a really beautiful pose to feel the breath. So I want you to just find this nice even rhythm of breath. And in fact, let's turn it into a little 4-part breath. So we're going to inhale here through our nose to the count of 4. Pause the breath to the count of 4. Exhale through your nose to the count of 4. Pause the breath out to the count of 4. And then you're going to continue like that. So several rounds. So maybe you want to go breathe into 5 or 6 or stretch out the breath. But just play with that rhythm that feels right in your body. So you're inhaling, pausing, Exhaling, pausing, really even. So the same count for each part of that breath. Attention might wander. You come back to your breath. Tension might happen in your body. You might start gripping and holding. So again, just pay attention to that. Soften in those spots. Work where you need to. So finish up the round that you're on. So you'll finish holding that exhale out, and then you'll just start to find normal rhythm of breathing. And we're going to start to move towards Shavasana. So this is a great place to be. If you're comfortable here, you are more than welcome to stay here. We want to come into classic Shavasana on the floor, and that's easy for you to do. You're certainly welcome to go there. Sometimes it just feels nice.
Jan, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I think we lost audio.
Can you hear me now? I think my mic died. Sorry about that,
Yeah,
guys.
we can hear you. No worries.
Oh. Thank you, Amy.
All right. So coming into Shavasana. Thanks, Amy. Note to self, make sure the mics are fully charged. Finding a comfortable position, whatever that might be. Deep inhale through your nose. Full complete exhale through your mouth. Ha. And just taking a few moments to completely relax here. So we worked hard. That's important, but it's also important that we let all of that assimilate into our bodies, that we soak up the quiet. Shavasana. Asatoma satgamaya. Tamasoma joy tirgamaya. Mrityoma mritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Take a deeper inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Begin to bring some gentle movement back to your body. So wiggle, stretch. And just observe how you're feeling. And then bring your palms in a pile on top of your heart. You're sending yourself love and gratitude. Sending your body love and gratitude. It's really a gift to be able to work like this. It's not always easy, but it does make a difference. It helps us to feel better in our bodies. Promise yourself that you're going to carry a little of this feeling with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the week ahead. Beautiful work today. Thank you.